about the article from Tuesday, which was about inventing new job titles and kind of the positives and the negatives associated with inventing these new job titles. So, Konstantin, your challenge for today, we had 10 words. Actually, we didn't have 10. We had 9 words that we talked about during the last session. Hang on, I will post them here in the chat just to make it a little bit easier. But your challenge for today, I want you to see how many of these words you can include in our discussion. Okay, so while we're talking about this topic, I want to see how many of these that you can include. The challenge makes sense? It's clear?
Yes, sure, it's clear, but I'm afraid it's just very few words.
No
like
problem.
a job title or something like that.
No, it has to be, hang on. I'm just getting rid of all the definitions here, but I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm going to put them here as well to remind you. Maybe some of them you remember, maybe some of them you don't, but let's see. So we've got 9. Let's see by the end of, in an hour's time, let's see how many of them you manage to include in our conversation. Okay, that's your challenge. Are you up for the challenge?
I'm not sure, but I have no choice.
Let's see how it goes. If it works well, maybe we can try it another week as well. Okay, but why don't we start off easy then? Tell me a little bit about the article. What do you remember from the article?
I remember this about some job titles, and about some explanation why they became why appears new job titles, and why they invented so, and the impact of this renaming of maybe some job title, well-known job title, and also maybe about some lawyer industries. It's about some profession, and how you can move as a lawyer in the up to the career stairs. Also, maybe it is about story from different people who take some position with different titles, and maybe a little bit strange titles, and also about impact that have some job title. For example, I remember that HR profession is have negative attitudes last years from UK people, so the changing this title also relate with something, some attitudes from main people. And also maybe it article was about the reason why some employers change the job titles, and also about maybe our world is changed, so the job titles also change with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. And hi, Youssef. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
I don't know how much of Konstantin's summary there you caught. I don't know if you figured out what our topic for today is, but very, very basically, it's about new types of job titles. So kind of inventing new terms for job titles, for jobs, sorry. And some of the positive aspects of this or the reasons why it's happening, but also some of the negative side to it, why maybe in some situations this isn't a great idea. And Konstantin, what do you think? Will we include Youssef in the challenge as well? Might be a bit.
Yes, sure. And moreover, I suppose Youssef is much better in English than me. So we have a great competitor. So it's nice chance to improve our skill. Thank
I
you.
think the challenge is to apply these words in a sentence.
Yes. Exactly. So the words that I posted here, you can probably say the list just before I said hello to you. These were 9 words that we talked about on Tuesday when we were reading the article. Konstantin, you have a head start though, because you've already discussed the meaning of all these words. Youssef is maybe a little bit, he didn't get that same opportunity. So,
But can I ask?
Sure.
I have something to say. These words over here, you already translated, right? Like you already gave a synonym of it, right?
Yes, we did. We already discussed it. So,
okay. Okay, no problem. I'll try to at least translate.
Yeah, you don't have to. This is the challenge for today, to see if you can include any of them when you're talking. So,
and I'll be honest with you,
let's see
Natasha,
how
I
it
believe
goes.
this is what I was looking for, because
Okay.
sometimes when you try to see new words in an article, certain article, but at the next time you are not going to put it in sentences, you're probably going to forget it. But
Definitely.
I believe this is going to be a very efficient way, and
Okay.
I hope we can do it. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You know better than me. You are a teacher, but I'm just suggesting. Yeah.
No problem. If you guys enjoy it, if it's going to be helpful, I think this is a good thing to include in the other sessions. So maybe this is something we can start doing from now on in the second session, the conversation session. We can kind of have this. I'll put the list of words here, and then we can see if we can use them as we discuss the topic during the session. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but in condition, we need to attend both or all of the sessions in order to.
It will make it a little bit easier. However, if you didn't, what you can do, and I'll put the link here again as well, because these words, I always write a post here on Discord as well. And I include these words with their definitions. So if you have a look at this link here that I just finished posting in our thread for today, if you click on that, it will actually take you to the list where we've got each of these words with their definition as well. So that can kind of help you out.
Yeah, I did.
So even if you don't manage to come to the session, you can kind of check that to see what the new words were and to make sure that you understand them.
Yeah, great. That's great.
Okay, fantastic. So, my first question for you both. What do you think about these kind of inventive job titles? Do you think it's kind of okay to create new job titles for jobs, or do you think we should be sticking with, traditional job titles that we've used for years and years?
Did the article mention like that? We create new words for jobs that we already has words for them. Or
Exactly.
they're referring to a new position we create or we invent a new words.
Both, really. Some of them were about obviously creating new job titles for new jobs, but some of them were about creating new job titles for jobs that already exist and already had job titles.
So what was the question?
I'm going to change the question. I'm going to change to an easier question first. So, why do you think people are actually inventing new job titles? Let's start with this question first. Why are we inventing new job titles?
I'm speechless, to be honest. I don't know.
We can ask Konstantin as well. I know Konstantin knows some reasons, right?
Yes, for sure. I think the answer is because time is changed, and the world is changed. So to explain some profession, to make succinct explanation, maybe that's why the new job title we invent, because there are no such kind of profession was during last century, for example, and they just became recently. So we have two new words to make a title and explanation for this profession. So maybe that's the reason, because new job titles. I'm afraid I forget this word, minted or something. Newly minted. Newly minted profession. So the maybe reason it is also make the position make position more attractive to candidates, to employees. So that's the two reason I have to say. So maybe it is not only two, but much more reasons why job titles transformed. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a good start. We need new job titles, obviously, for new positions, maybe for areas that didn't exist or jobs that didn't exist in the past. And the second reason is to make some jobs more attractive to candidates, to make the job sound maybe more interesting or more exciting, or to attract more people. Can either of you think of any other reasons, or any other reasons why we might... Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Did they give some examples in the article about some, some jobs we have, and they created for them like new words or new names? Did they mention that, like an example?
They did, yes. Konstantin, do you remember any of them?
Yes, sure. I remember, but also I invented a new profession every moment. For example, I give you an example. This how about the profession named senior procrastinator. So it's newly minted profession. So it's called senior procrastinator. It's one of my favorite position I ever work in. So also maybe some chief. I'm not sure. Let me please read it again. It's about it's not a PR manager, but his position name was changed to something head of hype and culture. So the name of maybe former PR manager, now it is head of hype and culture. So that's a new type of job title. Also, maybe some example about how can we name the barista or some maybe profession from some people starts maybe it's about some waiter or profession like that. So they also changed to sound more attractive to potential candidates, and maybe it's senior specialist of hospitality or something like that. So it's about some waiter or maybe such specialist like that. So it makes sounds more confident and also for candidates, and you feel you belong to something big, and it's make your efficiency more higher, and you maybe more profitably spend your time. So maybe that's all about example I have of newly coined name or maybe job titles. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, these were some good examples. I think especially that one that was about the PR guy, which I think it was like senior marketing manager or something, that changed into hype and culture manager or something. I don't remember. Sorry, head of hype and culture. From head of marketing and new business to head of hype and culture. So it was a big kind of change as well. Yeah, exactly, Youssef. These are all kind of these examples of these like new titles: growth hacker, innovation catalyst, brand evangelist.
Yeah, I just try to search some words and like the previous job titles and comparing to the new one, and they give me this. And it's interesting, like for example, project manager, they right now they name it like project ninja, marketing specialist, growth hacker. So I guess like it's related like to the impact that this position make, or let's say the idea that you get of this position, right? Like for example, growth hacker, which is the same or referring to the marketing specialist. Like probably the effort that not the effort that he put, but like the skills that he make him like a very very good at his job. Probably this is why they choose this name. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. So yeah, just wanted to give these examples because I just saw it on the internet. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think these are really good examples actually about what's happening, because it does give you a different feeling, right? I think it also says a lot about the culture of the company. because I think you would have different expectations, for example, going for a role as a project manager and going for a role as a project ninja, right? The idea that the company would call you a ninja instead of a manager maybe gives you a different sense about the company culture and their values and what it would be like to work in the company. So maybe this is part of it as well, to try to show that the company maybe isn't such a traditional company, that it's maybe more innovative or, I don't know, more fun or playful in some kind of way. So it could be a way for the company to kind of present their culture a little bit too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this could be accurate, but like, for example, the last company that I worked in, it was in a different country. And I noticed they call the employees, they call it like the talent, our talent, like the administration. For example, when they ask for your reference, they will ask you, what's your talent number? I'm not sure if a lot of companies name their employees like the talented, like people or a talent. But I just noticed this in this company, like, and as you said, probably this is showing like a part of the company culture. And but sometimes it's not accurate, because I know a lot of people they call, they call talent, but they are not talented at all, which means I don't know, like sometimes it's not accurate, sometimes it doesn't refer to anything like realistic. Yeah, but probably this is what the company trying to do right now. They're trying to find new words for their employee or their anyone they work with them, or their coworkers or whoever. So yeah, that's what I just want to add. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think this is becoming more common because even recruitment in general is starting, or HR is starting to be called like talent acquisition or talent management, which gives you a whole different sense. But maybe this is a good question for you both. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to be called just like an employee, or to talk to a recruitment agency, or would you prefer to be called like a talent and, you know, to work with, to have an interview with someone in talent acquisition? Does it make a difference to you, or does it make you feel different, or what do you think?
For me, everything is good, unless you are not going to call me a family member. You're great.
Constantine, how about you?
I have no idea, because the impact of changing of name is maybe it's not the changing of essence. So it's maybe I have to say you proverb, don't judge the book by its cover. So don't judge the job by its title. So I'm not sure it is make some positive impact, but time is changed, and all is changed. So why not? Maybe it's some new. Maybe it is can make job routine more interesting, or I'm not sure, to be honest. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a good point, actually. Sometimes you're kind of, it's not really an actual change. So maybe it has a different name, but, you know, the responsibilities, the culture, all these other things, they kind of stay the same. So maybe now you're the digital alchemist instead of the digital marketer, but your role is basically still the same. It doesn't change. You don't have any, you don't get any extra benefits really from it at all. So this is something to watch out for, I guess. A change of name doesn't necessarily mean that the content has changed. The content could kind of be exactly the same, even though the name is changed. So maybe this is just kind of rebranding in a way, finding a new name for something that already exists to try to make it sound more exciting and different, even though it's exactly the same. Okay. Well, leading on from that, actually, what do you think are maybe actually, no, before we go into the negative side, what do you think the benefits could be of having like these different titles? In what way could these different titles maybe be useful or beneficial or, I don't know, positive in some way? How do you think they could be like a positive idea? Konstantin?
One of positive impact, for my opinion, it's maybe the job title gives a more clear explanation of your area of responsibility. So that's it I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe this new title might be more accurate really about what you do than your old job title was. I mean, I guess if we look at these other examples here, growth hacker compared to marketing specialist, maybe growth hacker actually describes it a little bit more because, okay, it's not just that you're focusing on marketing, you're focusing on growth. So, your goal, your responsibility is really about growing something, growing the number of customers or the number of followers or the number of, I don't know, the number of something. Yeah, it's more precise, exactly. So it better describes your job and what you do than maybe a more traditional job role.
And also, excuse me, I want to add, for example, Growth Hacker. It's a former marketing specialist. It's maybe Growth Hacker. It's imply your area of your duties. It's maybe a little bit wider than the common marketing specialist. So it's imply maybe you should do some more in additional to be a real growth hacker, but not the common marketing specialist. So the benefits for employers, maybe it's make you feel you should do something in additional to be proper to this position. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, from some of the examples we have here, maybe these new job titles are focusing a little bit more on the results rather than the area that you work in. If we have a look at some of the other ones, in client success instead of salesperson. Okay, maybe client success, this is kind of the result that you're aiming for rather than salesperson. Okay, you work in the area of sales. Maybe it's changing the focus a little bit from just your department or the area that your job fits into. And it's changing it more to like what result you're aiming at. So whether you're aiming at client success or you're aiming at being a catalyst for innovation or at growth, maybe these new job titles are focusing more on that. And so, as you said, it kind of allows them to focus on other types of tasks that might be important for that result, but wouldn't maybe normally be found under a more traditional kind of job title. Yusuf, how's your internet? Can you hear us? What do you think? Okay. Just checking. What do you think about this?
Well, I had some issue with my internet, so it was cutting. So probably I didn't get the full, whole what you said. But all I get is the impact that could happen by changing the name, or let's say by changing not changing the name, but changing the titles. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. The positive kind of effects that it could have, or the benefits that could come from it.
Yeah, I believe that there is it impacts the employee. For example, if we are going to the example that I brought, that the employees, I call it talented people, or like the talents. I believe it affects somehow in a good way. So people they feel like they are employee. They feel like they are valuable. Like they has like a reputation, and the company they value them like somehow, and they give them names. I'm just saying, like sometimes could be have a good impact to the environment, or to the environment. But for others, for example, the examples that I wrote over here, marketing specialist. Also, I believe that it has an impact. Like it gives you probably the idea that this guy or this position could help you somehow. By, for example, growth hacker. Like you get the idea that he is very skillful. Probably that he could. He could provide some very high level of profession or performing. So yeah, that's what I think. Thank you.
Yeah, I think definitely some people would feel maybe more valued with some of these new titles. I remember I worked in a company once where people were really happy when they changed our job title from being a coordinator to a manager, which is a really small change, right? But instead of being like an account coordinator, the title was then account manager. And there were some people who, fought really hard, and I mean really hard. They really argued for the fact that the name should be changed, because they believed that the word manager had maybe implied like a higher level of responsibility, or a higher level in some way, or more respect than the word coordinator. So it was quite funny because nothing else changed. There was no more money, no other responsibilities. It was just the name. But people were really happy that the name changed. Sure, Youssef, go ahead.
Thank you. That reminds me of what is happening here in my country. So, but first, I need your help in something. What you call the people that clean the streets and carry the garbage. I'm sorry about this, but how you call it? Like I don't know how you call it in English. Do you know what I'm a garbage collector? Okay. So cleaner. Yeah. Okay. So here in Algeria, in my country, it's awkward. The situation is very awkward and strange, because they used to call, in my native language, they call the cleaner, they call it by a name, which means he's the one that responsible of make the street dirty. Like, for example, if I'm going to say the name, I'm pretty sure that you are not going to understand in Arabic. But the job title refer to someone who make the street dirty, like who make the garbage. But in fact, it's the opposite. He's the one who clean he's the one who clean the street. And most of the time they complain. These workers, they complain. They said, we are not the one who make street dirty. We are not the one who make the garbage. You guys do it. Dirty Ninja. You guys do it. But instead, we are the cleaners. So yeah, that's what interesting in this country, like a waste collector, garbage man. Yeah, probably garbage man also not accurate. I'm just saying probably garbage man is not accurate, because here they call it probably it's the same. So the workers, they say we are not the one who make the or who cause the dirt and the unclean situation, but you guys do it and we clean. So here, for example, it's a necessity to change the name. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, sanitation engineer, I believe that's going to be suitable for their for the situation. Thank you.
Yeah, this is interesting actually, and maybe this is another reason why the job titles get changed sometimes, because maybe they're not accurately reflecting the person's job, or they're not kind of showing proper respect for the job that the person is doing. I'm sure we have an example of this in of English as well. I mean, even actually, probably when we talk about the airlines. So in the past, I think we used to talk about like an air hostess or air hostess, basically, because most of them were women. Now we have more women and men who do the job. But in the past, when the term first was developed, I guess it was air hostess. Now we tend to use flight attendant. So instead of the idea that, you've got this hostess that's maybe, holding a party on the plane, you have a flight attendant, which I feel like changes our vision of what they do. And it's like they're attending to things during the flight. They're not like hosting, this fun event on the plane or something like this. Sometimes maybe these changes are to better reflect what the job is, and also to show a little bit more respect for it as well. Even when we talk about like a waste collector or a garbage man, which are probably the common terms that we would use, I have seen in some places that they are starting to use like more formal terms for this as well, like sanitation engineer or waste management professional, with the idea that you're kind of maybe showing a bit more respect for the job, but also in a way maybe being a little bit clearer about all the different things that this person would do. They're not just collecting the garbage. There's, other parts of their job or other things that they need to do as well. So it's interesting. Some of these, one of the benefits, I guess, is maybe showing, making them look a little bit more professional, some of these jobs, or showing a bit more respect for some of these jobs, which is important. We need these people. So this is an interesting aspect of it. Okay. I also want to ask you both, though, about maybe the negative side of this. So we've talked about maybe some of the benefits or the reasons why it's being done, but what about why we shouldn't do it? What's the negative side to this, or how could this cause problems? Konstantin?
I tried to explain, but I'm not sure it will be successfully. So the negative impact is, for example, you change the title of profession from the garbage man to uh, sanitation engineer or maybe waste management professional, but the change relate only the title, but not to the salary and your responsibilities. And the person who takes this position feel like he is cheated by employer because the name of title and salary for this title is not relate closely. For example, as a waste management professional, he have some area of responsibility to collect and to separate garbage, but this some additional requirements and additional duties not um, relate to the salary value. So maybe it's about the negative impact. So people, it's related to burnout, and it make you feel maybe exhausted because you name like a high level professional, but your salary is just common salary of maybe most of unprofessional people who don't need high qualification, and maybe about the how name appropriate and relate with the wages and the salaries in general. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a term for this in English. We talk about lip service or paying lip service. So there's an idea maybe that you say something that's very nice, very beautiful, very kind, you know, but there's no substance kind of behind it. And maybe some of these name changes are just kind of paying lip service. So they give you this fancy title, this, you know, this fancy or this beautiful title, but you don't actually get anything solid, anything substantial maybe to back up that title. You know, you don't get extra money, you don't get extra maybe respect, something like this. This is
Excuse
the
me,
idea
but
that you meant, right?
what is this position about? And lip service is about beauty, yes? It's about nails, lips, or
Lip
something like that.
service.
Or,
No, lip
yes.
service isn't a job here. Paying lip service. This is a phrase. This is like an idiom that we use. And paying lip service means that you like you kind of express like agreement or support for something, but there's nothing. It's kind of insincere because it's not backed up by any actions.
Okay, yes, thank you. That's clear. Yes, that's clear. You just allegedly something, you allow something, but in allegedly way. So in the real real things is not appropriate to say you support something without showing support. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's that idea of like all words and no action. We usually say that politicians are really good at this. You know, they promise all these things and they say all these wonderful things they're going to do, but when it's time to take action, they don't actually do anything. This is what we call paying lip service, because lip service, you're talking. There's a lot of beautiful words, but there's no action.
Not support sense? Your talking with action. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And I definitely think this is maybe one of the big problems with changing these names. So it's just a way to make something maybe look better or look different or look more exciting, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is better or it is different or it is more exciting. What else? What other ways could it cause problems by using one of these kind of new fancy job titles instead of the more traditional ones? Maybe we need to think more of actually it could work for both. Maybe this works. Maybe you can think of problems with creating new job titles that have never existed before, or also about kind of rebranding a certain job, coming up with a new name for something that has already existed and already had kind of an established name. What are some other issues that could arise related to these? Konstantin?
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure I understand you right, but for example, I have faced with some problem in my industry. Then employer want to hire some specialist to do almost all scope of the works of the jobs. So it call it's maybe some strange name as it's maybe as an example I can add is, for example, architect and senior garbage collector or something, and incompatible things, and they want to combine in one profession to do. You have to do all of jobs, but you still maybe on the not big salary. So that's why we have some nowadays we have some specific industry, and everyone have to make his own job is just a little part of all picture of job marketing. Or Yusuf leave us. I hope he will back. Yes, welcome back, Yusuf. So maybe it's a strange thing because you don't understand what you should do, especially, and maybe it's just a universal employee. You start to working, and your duties is changed on depends on the willing of employer, and it's something maybe for my opinion not good, because the job title should describe your duties, but nowadays we have different cases, and so it maybe make you feel not so confident, because you can't be specialist in the all field at the same time, because people is not a computer. We have some tasks, task by task, but not a few tasks in the same time. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this could definitely be a big issue, especially if the job title, instead of being more specific, it becomes more vague. If you have a job title like team member, I feel like this opens up, opportunities for the company to ask you to do lots of different tasks, which might not really be in areas that you want to work in or you know how to work in. So especially these kind of vaguer job titles, can maybe lead to a little bit of exploitation or changes in what you actually do in the company. You can end up doing something completely different from what you actually thought that you would be doing in the company. So that's definitely an issue with some of these job titles. What about other problems? What other problems could come from having, these inventive job titles? What about when you're maybe looking for a job? What kind of issues do you think you could come up if you're looking for a job?
Let me please answer. So maybe if I am looking for the job, it's some titles is not informative, so they not bring the information about some duties, upcoming requirements for candidate, and also it's about it's not clear, and it's not take you, it's not involve you. So for example, as I am looking for position, I always look for architects, for example, and nowadays architects exist not only in building and also about IT industry, and that kind of architects earn much more money than architect in building. So it's maybe make me a little bit worried about my salary. So these people earn a lot of thousands of dollars, and I feel maybe I am not so successful like they. So it make me a little bit worried about my future. Thank you.
Oh, I wouldn't worry so much about that. I think we'll always need architects for buildings as well. Yusuf?
I think it makes, when it comes to looking for a job, for example, online, for example, and nowadays, as you said and as you mentioned, like there is a new job title, sorry. Well, first it will make like a kind of confusion, and you don't know what the meaning of this job sometimes, if they are going to change it. And for example, this case happened to me probably the last year when I was looking for a job, and I was looking like traditionally we call some position a certain name, but when I was looking online for a job, and when I typed my job title or position on the internet, the result was showing like different names. So I was like, what is that? Like how I did type something and it's brought something else. And then when I tried to figure out, is it the same meaning? Like, is it the same position? At the end, I found it like it's the same. But for some days, I thought, no, this is not the job. So I didn't apply. I didn't apply for the job. So sometimes it could make, especially for non-native speakers, probably. For example, in English, if we are going to talk in English, job titles in English. So yeah, it's made like a sort of confusion, at least for me. So as I said, like I refused, not I refused, but I wasn't aware that this is the same job, so I didn't apply. Then when I realized that it's the same job, it's just the language different, or probably some area call it that way and the others call it different way. Then I realized, and I said, oh, I did something wrong because I didn't apply. So yeah, that's it. I believe it can affect negatively somehow. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a big issue as well. One, when you're looking for it, you don't recognize some of these jobs, or you just don't see some of the jobs that are available that you're actually very qualified to do and would be interested in doing, because the name that the job has been given is very different and not something that you would think about searching for. I think the opposite could be a problem as well, because let's say that you had a job with one of these, different job titles. If that is on your resume, and let's say that you're applying for basically the exact same job, but in a company that doesn't use these more innovative job titles, they may not recognize the experience that you have on your resume. And if they're using something like AI, which is doing an automatic selection based on keywords, that could be a little bit dangerous because maybe you could have all the skills they need and everything needed to do the job. You could be really qualified. But because the job title isn't what they would expect to see, maybe they wouldn't consider your experience, and you would kind of be knocked out of the job selection process because they didn't really realize that you have the experience that they want because of this kind of different job title. So I think this is definitely like an issue that could happen with these kinds of things as well, that you would have to be very careful with to make sure that it doesn't negatively affect you when you're looking for jobs. Okay.
If AI going to contribute in this process, I believe that this issue going to be disappear, because AI will know every word and every refrain, especially when they recruiting. So probably, well, it's very bad for human resource officers, probably, because probably their job is, they are in danger. So AI probably going to be the solution. Thank you.
That's true. I guess it depends what the humans ask the AI for. But it depends, I guess. Okay. Well, we are out of time, so we might stop here for today. Is there anything else that either of you wanted to add, though, before we finish? Actually, to quickly say about the challenge, I know that some of the words were used. I remember hearing succinct, newly minted. I think maybe those two. Were any of the other ones included? Did I miss anything? I think we got 2 out of the 9.
Yes, maybe we will use it next time. So it's maybe not only related only to job titles, but in general, for example, some bespoke or words like that. So they also maybe proper to a lot of topics.
That's true, yes. And it's good to kind of practice using them for different topics as well. Okay, people skills. Okay, we had another one. Okay, so we had 3 out of 9. That's a third. That's 33%. That's not so bad. So that's our score to beat for next week.
Yes, it's much better than nothing.
Exactly. And now we've got a goal. Okay, but remind me about this next week as well if I forget during the conversation sessions. Let's try again and see how it goes. But thank you both very much. I hope you enjoyed this session, and hopefully I will talk to you both again very soon. Thank you. Bye.